Hey guys, welcome to Juicy Tea, where I read out the best stories on Reddit, so you don't have to. The funny, shocking, and satisfyingly juicy. Today's video is Sussy Sunday, where we try and find the truth. Am I the a-hole for choosing my parents over my girlfriend and leaving her to take care of our child? Our first post comes from the Am I the a-hole subreddit, posted by Deleted. Me, 19 male, and my girlfriend, 27 female, have been together for almost 2 years. So he was 17 and she was 25. Okay? Those have been the happiest years of my life. We met during my internship at my local nursery home. It is mandatory for students to have an internship in a social field if you want to study medicine in my country. My girlfriend oversees human resources in said nursing home and therefore also takes care of the interns. Okay, so another power imbalance there. We were very fond of each other as we had a lot of common interests, although I didn't think much of it at first as I usually received negative feedback due to me being a bit socially awkward. One of the residents that I took care of and grew to really like sadly passed away during one of my days off work. I didn't take it too well at all and I was quite depressed for a while. I was told by my colleagues that this is normal and part of the job. They also told me I should talk to my instructor about this, as she has a decent amount of work experience and could provide me with some closure and comfort. I won't go into details of what we talked about, but over the next few weeks, we grew a lot closer. We connected over shared experiences and trauma. Oh my god, this just sounds like grooming. My internship was reaching its end, and I wanted to keep in touch with her, so I gathered the courage to ask for a number. She happily obliged, and from that moment on, we texted regularly, until eventually, she asked me to come over to her place, and I ended up staying the night. It was my first time. Although she had a lot of experience, she put in the effort to make it special for both of us. This kept happening for the next 2 months, until I finally asked her to be my girlfriend. She agreed, but asked me to keep it private, as she doesn't like to hear about other people's relationships either. She wants to keep it secret? Oh, this is like the 4th red flag. I would agree to anything if I could be with her. Fast forward a year, and we've moved in together at the protest of my parents, and had a very healthy relationship. Everything was smooth sailing until my parents forced me to move back in with them because my father got into an accident and needed medical care. We'd grown apart over that year since they'd been very against my relationship. I think it was a good opportunity for us to reconnect and for them to get to know my girlfriend, but they refused to even acknowledge her. My parents live a 30-minute drive away, so I couldn't see my girlfriend daily anymore. She seemed fine with us being apart until she told me she was pregnant. I was shocked and I didn't know how to feel about it. I've always wanted to build a family and have children, but I didn't feel ready to be a father yet. At this point, she was very insistent about me moving back in with her. I didn't want her to be alone in this, but she never listened to my concerns about being a young father. She also never explained how she got pregnant since she was taking the pill and we didn't see each other that much. She started giving me the silent treatment after I refused to move back in with her and pushed her to consider an abortion. She ended up giving me an ultimatum, my parents or her and the child. I never liked the fact that my parents and my girlfriend never got along, but this was pushing it too far. I love her, but I also love my parents, and I'm not ready to be a dad. I was honest with her and chose to stay with my parents for now at least. She hasn't responded to any of my texts in a few days. Am I the a-hole? Are we sure she's actually pregnant? Even if she is, there's so many red flags with this one. OP may be a father and have responsibilities to the kid, but that doesn't include staying in this toxic relationship. I hope he doesn't get pulled back in. Try to sneak a foreclosure, lose my business and everyone else's. Our next story comes from the PettyRevenge subreddit, posted by ChillDude890. For anyone who has ever served on a HOA board, you know that most violations, accounting and general management of the HOA, especially with a neighbourhood the size that I run, is handled by a property management company. This is mainly because it would be too expensive and biased to have someone who lives in the community handle all of these duties alone. A dirty little secret of these companies, however, is that many of them will make their prices cheaper by secretly passing fining policies onto the homeowners that the board has no control over. Hence today's story. Main story. About a month ago, we were conducting a regular HOA meeting. We've been having them fairly often to keep our board, management company rep, and homeowners in sync since we've been hearing complaints about bad behaviour from the management company. This particular meeting, however, things almost got out of control. As soon as we finished all of our checklist items, we asked the homeowners if there were any questions. A couple stood up and I saw the man holding a paper with a shaking hand, which I quickly learned was due to his anger. Over the next 10 minutes, he explained how he was here to plead his case for the board to not foreclose on his house, especially since he's been making payments on a large debt for a long time. Without going into too many details, the discussion got extremely heated because our management company had told us to not get involved since this homeowner had already been involved with our lawyers. After lots of arguing, the meeting was finally over. I left totally confused because I knew that homeowner was in good standing, and if he was willing to pay, which records showed he had called to do, why couldn't he? I'd been told by my property manager to not take any action, but I decided to call BS. I called the legal firm representing the board, which I was told to not do, even though they represent us. After talking to the firm for an hour, I found out that the management company hadn't allowed this homeowner to pay his fines because of some petty procedural technicality, and that instead, they were slapping fines on him like there was no tomorrow. I quickly told the lawyer to offer to settle his balance with no fines, and the issue was resolved the next day. Revenge. I spent more time looking into our management company. I found out that they would underbid management contract costs and supplement them by adding in their own fines onto homeowner collections without the board's approval. This is technically in the fining process, and while it's not illegal, it's highly unethical and disputable because it encourages the management company to fine and escalate non-issues to make more money. I honestly felt horrendous because I had no idea due to it being a one-line clause in the contract. I also received a call from our community manager urging us to stop waiving fines as it sets a bad example. That really set me over the edge. Livid with this phone call and the new knowledge about fines, I found a new management company and terminated our contract immediately. In addition, I believe I found a loophole where all charges unfairly pressed against the homeowners will not be recouped by the company, and the HOA can't be liable for them since they are a pass-through. During an issue with the property investment company, I met about a dozen other HOA board members in my area and discovered about 6 of them are using the same company, even the same community manager. I urged them to look into the same issues, and they soon discovered the horrors themselves. It sounds like all of them will be terminating their contracts soon. One of the other association presidents actually knows the state council for HOA rules, and they're now working with them to make this practice illegal. If it passes, this entire company would go under. While I'm not holding my breath, I am certainly following the legal proceedings closely, and have even offered to testify before a committee regarding why this rule is needed. It sounds like deliberations begin in January. As for the community manager, the person helping our community, they've lost over half of their contracts, and the manager came begging for me to stay. They even offered to stop the fining policy in the most corporate talk way possible, where they basically gave themselves plausible deniability if they do it again. I told him that his property manager deserved what she had coming to her, and that their policies were stone cold terrible. He tried to reply, but I just hung up. I was too angry. Watch these management companies closely. They're seriously almost all snakes in the grass, waiting to screw over board members and community members. A kind and compassionate HOA board member? Wow! I feel like I only ever hear the really bad HOA stories. I'm glad this guy cares so much. I found a picture of my sister's sex toys on my husband's phone. Our next story comes from the Relationship Advice subreddit, posted by AlphaPeach822. My mum and sister went out of state on a trip last week, and they paid my husband to check on the dogs every day and feed them. Unbeknownst to me, whilst he was there at some point, he snooped through my sister's stuff and took pictures of her sex toys. She hides it in a basket in her closet. My sister and I are extremely close, so I recognized exactly what it was as soon as I saw the picture. I found the picture hidden in a keepsafe app on his phone. I am horrified and disgusted. He was trying to say that he was going to use it as blackmail, and then said he doesn't know why he did it. I'm so sickened. Like, what the F? What should I do? What would you do in this situation? I've already chewed him out, and he knows I'm so pissed off. Not sure if this is worth divorce or not. Edit. The truth comes out. He took a photo to wank to it later. Still disgusting and horrible. I mean, that was kind of obvious. Why would he want to blackmail your sister? And how would a picture of her sex toys work? Even if that was somehow true, it wouldn't be any better. I don't know if this is divorce worthy, but I wouldn't make my sister uncomfortable by inviting him over to any more family gatherings until she okayed it. And now it's time for your unethical life hack. How to easily shut down people who try to lowball or negotiate at the door when selling on Facebook Marketplace, etc. Posted by Garfield and Simon. I discovered this accidentally, and now my whole household is using it. Basically, if someone is coming over to pick up an item and you expect them to try and negotiate at the door or lowball, just tell them that you won't be home, but your roommate can take care of the transaction. When they show up at your door, have someone else in your household handle the sale, and if they try to lowball or negotiate, just say you're uncomfortable with changing the price since it's not your item. In my experience, a lot of the time, they'll just pay the full price. If not, just hesitate and be like, I guess taking $10 off is okay, but that's the most I'm comfortable with. I don't want to get in trouble with my roommate. And usually, it's too awkward for them, and they just accept. I know a lot of sales are smooth, and people pay what they agreed to, but in my experience, if something's in the hundreds, people will try and negotiate at the door. This is an easy way to prevent that. Your mileage may vary, but it's worked well for us. Sunk cost probably plays a part too, since they've come all this way out to your place already. Keep in mind though, playing this game may mean losing out on the item. Remember, I post new content every day, so subscribe for more juicy tea.